it's Marley from the Energy Boutique. On this episode of What the Fact, we are talking about birth charts, natal charts. What the fact is a birth chart? Where can we find it? Why should we care about it? So, I'm going to get you to go on the interweb, astro.com. This is going to take you to this particular web page. We want to click up in the corner, go to free horoscopes, horoscope drawing and data, extended chart selection. So if you're new to this, it's going to give you the option to enter as a guest or to create your own profile. If you are going to want to be interested in astrology and constantly be able to reflect back to your chart to see where current transits are, I would recommend that you actually create yourself an account, especially if you start wanting to look up other people's birth chart in order to help you learn. It's nice to be able to have an account, have, your friends, your family, your partner, your kids, whatever the case may be, all there in a list for you to pick from to see where current astro events are taking place in their chart. But for this particular series, I'm just going to enter as a guest and of course, accept all this. Now, this is where you're going to fill out your birth data. So this is very important. You have to have your birth data. Most people know that information. What's even more important, going to give us the maximum information, is knowing your birth time. So for this particular example, I'm just putting in guest and I'm going to say that I'm other, and we're going to pick a fancy number of 17. I feel like maybe we should do August, and let's say the person was born in 87. Let's say that the person was born 6 p.m. and let's say 13 minutes passed. And I'm in Canada, so I'll just use Canada as an example, and I'll use Victoria, BC as an example as well. So we're going to hit continue. Down here, it's very important if we are looking up the transits for the day, which we'll get into in another episode, that you pay attention to this particular date. We can pick any date in the world. We can examine past events. We can examine future events. This is where the knowledge is. And of course, knowledge is power. Down here, we're just going to leave it at default for the time being, and we're going to click show the chart. Now, essentially, this is where the planets were at the time of your birth. Okay. So let's just say you're laying on your back in the middle of, a field, and you're looking up at the stars, at the cosmos. Of course, you're not going to be able to see it all. And you took a picture at the time in which you took your first breath coming out of your mother's womb. This is a snapshot of the cosmos and where the energies were at play at the time that you entered into this earth realm. Why is that important? Because prior to coming into Earth school, you as a soul chose your path. Does that mean that everything is stuck on a fine line of destiny? No, we have free will here. But generally speaking, we pick the time that we need to come into this earth, the season. We pick our families. We pick the right constructs of the environment that will best push us into the path of power and remembrance, which is our whole soul's mission, is to be here to remember who we are as spiritual entities, not get caught up in this 3D physical realm matrix, and complete certain karmic tasks and roles. Our birth chart is setting us up for this. I'm not saying that it is an instruction manual. I'm saying it is a very helpful, assisting guide for us. Now, the truth is always written in the stars. However, we do have free will. However, we can take a look at our birth chart and not only get a perfect understanding of who it is that we are, but a perfect understanding of the potential of who it is that we could be. We can understand how we think, how we express ourselves, how we actually act, behaviors, emotional, mental, actual behaviors in relationships. We can tell a lot from your birth chart. That's why it's so important. And for the most part, there's a million layers to a birth chart that we could look at. There's so many, different aspects and symbolisms and what have you. But what I want to show you here today is first how to access it, which, we're here. Okay. So the guest that I've created would be a Leo Capricorn rising with a Gemini moon. That would be your big three. We'll get into that episode here very shortly, but your sun, your moon, your rising sign, ascendant sign right here, most important. Also, most important. So if you're looking at your birth chart right now, you're going to want to screenshot your birth chart just as is, okay? It's always good to have that as a screenshot. It's also good to have, of course, the rundown, but you can access this if you create a profile at any time. I want you to pay good attention to this area here. This is your elemental energy profile. This basically tells you the elements in which you are made up of. It tells you, obviously, this person has a lot of fire. So we know that this person's going to be in a lot of action, a lot of entertaining, dramatic situations, constantly forging forward, or they're going to burn themselves down and everyone around them. Could go either way. We would have to jump into different aspects in order to figure that out. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because you see this particular box, this setup in my daily energy forecasts. And when you're looking at it in the daily energy forecasts, it's showing you the elemental energy of the day. If you have this particular breakdown kind of saved in your phone of what you're made up of, then you can quickly identify how it is that you're going to basically seize the day based off of the elemental energy of the day and how it gets along or goes against your own elemental energy profile. The only other thing that I want to show you in this particular episode, because again, it's only supposed to be an intro on what the birth chart is and how to get it. You're going to need to know that because a lot of my future episodes are going to be about your birth chart and how we can figure out good, bad, lessons, cycles, the whole 9 yards. But you're going to need your birth chart. You're going to need to know how to access it. The only other thing that I want to show you here today is this little button up here. Very important. It says with transits. Now, transits mean where the planets are currently moving in the cosmos, in the here and now present moment. So when we click this button, we're going to have a chart generated for us. You'll see on the outside. So this is the time in which we are snapping a perfect, beautiful shot of the cosmos. And the green energies on the outside of the wheel, this is the planets. This is where they're currently at, moving through the cosmos. And this is where they would end up if we overlaid them over your natal chart. This is very important because this tells us where the action is taking place, what kind of aspects are being activated, what kind of season you're in, and what season you're moving into. It can tell us a lot, but this particular chart is how we examine where the energy is at today and how it's interacting with us based off of our aspects, our planets, our individual chart. So I hope that was helpful. I hope that at least you understand that, you know what, knowing your birth chart, having access to your birth chart, I guess, is step number one. It's very important. It is literally like an individual thumbprint, fingerprint. It's almost like your social insurance or social security number. It is very individual. It is very important. And also what I see in this new age spiritual community is an oversharing of personal details. Okay, do not pass out your placements like they're, trading cards. This is personal stuff. I want you to treat this as you would your bank account, okay? I see too many people putting their charts out there, their information out there, their placements out there, and one would say, well, you know what, that's harmless, it is what it is, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's great for you, but there are people that know how to manipulate energy and frequency and knowing the inner workings of who it is that you are. If I was on an evildoer side, I would take great pleasure in being able to siphon individuals' energy off of them to support me, to build me up, simply by them volunteering their personal information, their elemental energy makeup, their positioning in the cosmos. It's very easy to access one's energy based off of one's birth chart. So that is my big caution. That is my big warning to you. It is very private. It is very personal. Keep it to yourself. So with that being said, I hope this was helpful. I want you to create charts for yourself. I want you to create charts for your partner, for your parents, for your children, for your friends, anyone that you have in a relationship with that you would care to dabble in understanding from a little bit more of a deeper perspective in the birth chart. And over the, course of however long this series takes, I don't know that it will ever end, seeing as, information in astrology never ends. You're always learning something new. There's always something to pluck out as far as higher education goes. But in this series, I just want you to have some charts to pull from easily. And, that's why I say create yourself a profile, spend the time to, at least get a couple of people close to you, their charts in there so that when we start floating through how to pick this chart apart, you'll be able to really see it come to life when you're able to look at the chart of the people that you've surrounded yourself with for quite some time. You'll be able to see the qualities and characteristics jump right out at you. So it is going to be a little bit of a journey, a little in this, astrology discovery. But if you're super interested in learning about astrology, this is the way to do it. You got to dive in, get hands on. And if you're not interested in learning astrology, that's okay too. But I kind of think everybody would access information to know if they're going to have a good day, a bad day, if there is the right time to jump into a new job, a relationship, if you will, what their mission is. There's a lot of valuable information. So even if you're not down with learning about astrology, at least hopefully going through this series, you'll be able to hack your own birth chart and at least pluck out the information that is valuable to you in the here and now. So hopefully you enjoyed this. I want to thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.